Golly sakes, it has been a minute. Hello, DFW. Sound like the old Lloyd Lindsay Young. He did weather in San Francisco a million years ago. Hello, Concord. But no, it's hello, DFW. It's Big Jim Smith in for Chris Krok tonight. Haven't been here for a spell, but I'm sure glad to be back. I actually had the opportunity to do more nights than tonight, but I've got kids, and guess what's going on tomorrow night? Yep, fireworks. And we're not talking political fireworks. These are the good kind. This is the fun stuff. So I'm otherwise committed to, actually, I'm going to a big political event, and it's huge. It's one of the biggest fireworks shows in the country, and I've been invited to join the VIP tent there with my family. So I'm going to go be a VIP and feel very self-important. But I appreciate Chris getting to take some time off and giving me this opportunity. So I have been busy doing other things, and I will get a chance to talk about those throughout the evening. But one of those is I work with Cumulus. I do a podcast, the Big Jim Smith podcast, on one of the for one of the Cumulus affiliates, and it's on the Cumulus page. If you go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, any of the platforms, you'll find it on there. But the Big Jim Smith podcast, it's interesting. It's kind of a play on both sides of the conservative aisle. Yes, both sides of the conservative aisle. The left of center, right of center is trying to get them to come together. It doesn't do well. But that's not the topic of the day. What in the heck? So I was in the mountains with my family. This was last week, and I made my kids and my wife subject to watching the debate from our fifth wheel while I barbecued steaks. And my kids said, "Dad, can't we watch Disney Plus?" Hell no, you're not watching Disney Plus. They have shows like, I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, it's one that I hate. It's very anti-white, very racist, and it's on the Disney Channel. And I just said, no, we're not, you're not watching Disney. You're going to learn what America's all about. So my take is that Donald Trump, at his age, I'm a few years younger than him, but not far. But at his age, has it still. He's got the credentials mentally, physically, emotionally. He still is kind of a weird communicator. Yeah, you've heard that from everybody. You know it. You listen to him. And he does just some off-the-wall things. He's done them his entire career. When we watched him on The Apprentice, some of his communication things, they don't click like a polished, seasoned politician that listens to all of his advisors and talks and says everything they're supposed to say. But the guy, if this guy was talking and doing the things that his advisors told him, Biden needs to call Jimmy Hoffa and get a firing squad on his staff. Oh my gosh. It was painful to watch. It was really painful to watch. And after the election 3.5 years ago, I was here. I filled in. I may have been filling in for one of the day parts, but I think it was Chris's show. And I made the point then. I said, this is hard to watch a guy like this be elected president, because I felt bad for him at the time. This was going on when he was first elected. Do you remember, this is the guy that was in the basement the entire campaign. Trump is drawing hundreds of thousands of people to these rallies, and Biden could show up at a major league baseball game and the stadium would empty because he could not draw a crowd. And during COVID, he stayed in his mother's basement playing video games and yet still won the election. So I'm not going to rehash all of that crud. But once he got into office, we could see this demise, and we could see that this was happening. What we witnessed last week at that debate was all of this come to fruition. So my take, the Big Jim Smith vision of the election, leave Biden the heck alone. I want him on that ballot in November because Trump is going to clean the floor with him. If all the rules are followed, as Trump put it, as I'm putting it, if all the rules are played, Trump's going to win the election. That's my belief. I feel bad for Biden, but I don't. I don't feel bad for him from the perspective that while everyone on the left is so busy, number one, they were all the ones that wanted to execute Article 25 of the Constitution on Trump, and they were trying to get his cabinet to remove him from office. Now we see what the actual purpose of Article 25 is, and Joe Biden is a great argument for that. But we don't want that to happen because can we say President Kamala Harris? We don't want that either. That's worse than what we have now because she doesn't have one foot in the grave. So we don't want to go that direction. I'm totally surprised that everyone is pushing so diligently from the right for him to get out of the election. Why? What is the issue here? Now, I know that we have a contingent of Republicans, of those in the GOP, like Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan. There are those who are still never Trumpers. They always have been. They always will be. They're useless to the Republican Party. And the point being that guys like Romney and Ryan, in a sense, are just endorsing Biden because they say, well, I stand on a matter of principle. Mitt Romney said it's a matter of character. I can't support Donald J. Trump. What, really? Mitt, you want him to be the prophet of your church? Is that what you're holding the standard to the leader of the LDS church? Is that the standard, the guys that you go to church with? Because that's not who Donald J. Trump will ever be. And that's not who you should expect him to be. My mother is another one of those that says, I can't support him. Well, I told my mom, I said, I'm not asking you to marry him. I'm telling you that this is the individual who's going to save our country. And yeah, he might not have every belief that you have, but he's a good person. Is he a narcissist? I don't know. We'll talk about that. You've heard all the talking heads, and you're hearing Big Jim Smith give his pontifications, but I want to hear what your perspectives are. I'm hoping we have a caller-intensive night tonight. 1-800-288-WBAP. That's 800-288-9227. We will take the Chris Krok Show tonight and have a phone fun with it and get your input on this topic of the day, the debate from last week. It is huge. If you're nervous about calling in, Jim at bigjimsmith.net is my email, or you can Facebook message me at Big Jim Smith. All one word, Big Jim Smith. We'll get him on the air. We'll be back with more right here on News Talk WBAP. Welcome back to the Chris Krok Show on News Talk 820 WBAP. I'm Big Jim Smith, filling in for Chris tonight, and I'm just setting my clock here. I have a clock that keeps me on time, so Garrett doesn't have to yell at me all the time. I can look and know when he tells me to stop talking. So this is a lot of fun, but it's not. You know, I was just listening to Levin while I was prepping for the show and trying to get some ideas on what I wanted to say tonight, and he he hits the nail right on the head. We are in precarious times. And if you go back, you start backtracking 8, 12 years when we could see this transition, this change in the attitude of Americans. And here we are. Tomorrow is Independence Day. And it's not really the day we gained our independence. We didn't gain our independence on July 4th, 1776. It was 7 years later in September. So I don't know why we don't shoot off fireworks in September, but we could, I guess. But we're celebrating the signing and the acceptance of the Declaration of Independence tomorrow. But what does that mean? I know there's a ton of people on the left who are celebrating tomorrow. They'll shoot off fireworks. But, I got my flag out today. I'm in a new house, and so I went out and we were at Costco, and they had the big, beautiful American flags, and I grabbed one because in our new house, we didn't have a flag up yet. At the old house, we had a giant pole out front, and we took pride. It had lights on it, and so the flag was up 24/7, illuminated at night. You don't want to put a flag out in the dark at night. That's disrespectful to the flag. But I kind of got a little choked up today after I put that bracket on the post on the front porch, and I put Old Glory out there for all the neighborhood. And my house is kind of up on a hill, and there's a huge valley down below. And there's homes, and I looked and I thought, this is cool. Hopefully everyone else will follow suit and put a flag out. But is America really there? Is that where we are today? Now, I'm an old guy. I'm in my 60s. I mean, so I've seen a thing or two, and so I know the suffering. I watched friends of mine lose brothers in the Vietnam War. I watched my family members die in the Vietnam War. I was born in '60, so I was too young for the Korean War. But I know that my uncle was injured terribly in the Korean War, and it messed up his whole life. And why did he do that? So I could walk out today and hang that flag on the front porch to celebrate this magnificent experiment that's called the United States of America, this constitutional republic with a democratically elected representation. This is cool stuff. And there's people that just absolutely hate it. And I think Joseph R. Biden is one of those people who absolutely hate it. You know, and I think he has for a long time. He's run for president 16 or 17 times. I know I'm exaggerating, but when he first ran, he didn't get the hint. Now, I want to come back to the narcissism topic. Anybody I know that hates Donald Trump says he's a narcissist. Well, yeah, you're a doctor, right? What's a narcissist? Ask somebody who calls somebody a narcissist. What is a narcissist? Well, let's go to Duke Health. Duke Health says that a narcissist, they have this acronym, special me. So starting off, sense of self-importance, preoccupation with power, beauty, or success, entitled, can only be around people who are important or special, interpersonally exploited for their own gain, arrogant. Okay, now Donald Trump might have some arrogance, but he doesn't fit any of the rest of these. Lack of empathy, must be admired, envious of others, or believe that others are envious of him. If that doesn't describe Joseph Biden to a T, he has come out, despite everything, despite members of his own party saying, step aside, let us put somebody in there that we think could beat Donald Trump. He says, no. I'm going to run to the end with my 6 handicap, and I'm going to beat him down. You know, that's the sense of self-importance. He didn't get it the first 4 or 5 times that he ran for president and was booted out. The preoccupation with power, entitlement, he feels like he's entitled to this position, can only be around people who are important or special. He surrounds himself with yes men and puppet masters, interpersonally exploited for their own gain. Let's talk Burisma, China, Hunter, arrogant. Oh, yeah. But I think that comes with a politician, but that's okay. I'm going to give arrogant to every politician that I know, and most of us radio guys. Lack of empathy. Donald J. Trump goes in the trenches. He shows up at Chick-fil-A and buys everybody lunch and sits and visits with everyone. Joe Biden shows up at Chick-fil-A and they close the doors. Now, Joe Biden goes on Sunday to Chick-fil-A and can't figure out why nobody's there. Must be admired, envious of others, or believe that others are envious of him. If you watch the debate, you heard it right from the mouth of the President of the United States himself. So, I'm not a doctor either, and I'm not going to diagnose Joe Biden with dementia, with Alzheimer's, with narcissism, but you have to be able to connect the dots as citizens of the United States of America, or the 11 million people who aren't. Still, we need you to look at this guy. He doesn't care about you. Donald J. Trump will give you a path to be in this country, and that's part of what we're looking at. Is he a narcissist? Is Donald J. Trump a narcissist? I'd really like to hear from supporters of Joe Biden. If you are a Joe Biden supporter, you don't have to give your real name or even your real location. You just call and say, I'm Joe Schmo from Paris, Texas, of course, I'm talking about. Or you could be Paris, France. We don't care. I just want to be able to have a civil conversation with you and find out why you believe that Joe Biden should be our president again. Is he going to be able to get the water to the end of the row? That's a farming analogy. You ever notice when you drive by a field of corn and the corn at the end of the rows is small and weak and tepid? It's because when they set the siphon hoses and or run the water on the lines, the water doesn't always make it all the way to the end of the row, and that's a farmer's big thing. Whether it's clots in the harrow, or they want to get the water to the end of the row because that gives them a full production. Can Joe Biden make it another 4.5 years and get the water to the end of the road? Just survive his term. Can he make it? I really want you to tell me your thoughts on that. So if you're a Trump supporter, great. I want your perspectives. If you are a Biden supporter, I promise you a respectful conversation. I will not call you an idiot, a moron, a dummy. I will give you the respect that I would expect from you with me being a supporter of Donald Trump. The number, 1-800-288-WBAP, 1-800-288-9227. Oh, you can email me, jim@bigjimsmith.net. That'll get right to me. That's my radio email, jim@bigjimsmith.net. Or you can shoot me a message on Facebook. And again, a lot of you, because of the years that I've filled in here on WBAP, a lot of you are my friends on Facebook, and I hear a lot about what's going on in the WBAP area. So if you're listening, shoot me a Facebook message to Big Jim Smith. If you're timid about going on the air, we'll share your message. The problem is when I wrap up the show, it's about the time that people start sending in emails. So send them in now, and we'll get you on. We are News Talk 820 WBAP. It's the Chris Krok Show. We'll be back with more right after this. All right, and welcome back. News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. I'm Big Jim Smith, in for Chris Krok. On this Independence Day Eve, we are talking politic. Yes, well, that's been the subject since last week. We all anticipated with bated breath the debate between Donald J. Trump and Joseph R. Biden, and the outcome was closely to what many of us expected and what we anticipated. But, I have my perspectives and thought I would share those with you. I've asked for you to share your perspectives, whether you be a supporter of Donald Trump or Joseph Biden, and we're getting the calls. So let's do this. We're going over to Russ. Don't have where he's from. I'm guessing somewhere in Texas. And, hey, you're on WBAP. Russ, welcome to the show. What can I do for you?
Hey, thank you very much, sir. Yeah, I'm somewhere in Texas. I'm in Arlington right now listening to your radio show on my car radio. And
welcome. We appreciate you being here.
Listen, respectfully, I've got to say, I think you're saying the wrong things about Joe Biden. It's not the fact that he's old and incompetent and probably not able to feed himself anymore. It's the things that he's done for the last 4 years, and beyond that, the things that he did as a senator and his politics. He's a Democratic person, so he's always been like that. But just look at the last 4 years. He stopped the construction of the wall. He allowed millions of illegal people to come to our nation. He did that horrible pullout thing in Afghanistan and got 16 young people killed. Was that the number? And
13.
And then
13 U.S. service people. And then at the debate, he said no one has died during his tenure as president. So
he doesn't remember. He just doesn't remember what he's doing or where he's going. He probably doesn't remember what he said yesterday.
So I'm with you from that perspective, because my great-grandfather had dementia. My granddad, after he'd had a stroke, started to have a tremendous memory loss. And that's kind of what the face that I see in Joe Biden. But they weren't running the United States of America. And they had the common sense. My great-grandfather, who was a businessman, knew that it was time to step back from his business. He gave it over to his kids. Now his great-great-grandson is running that business. But and because we've seen this the wisdom in acknowledging your weaknesses and knowing when to step back. I just retired on Monday. My business got too big for me to run in my 60s, and I sold it. You just have to have the common sense to know when to do that, Russ. And so I think I don't know that I'm missing the point. I think I'm just drilling on what we're seeing currently because, I've watched this with you. I watched Joe Biden all the way back to the Watergate hearings. Do you remember when he was getting his hair implants and he has never been able to tell the truth?
Everybody in front of him.
And he's never been able to tell the truth. Joe Biden has always been a storyteller, and that's great. If you're a storyteller, make it up as you go. That's fine. But if you're running the United States of America, no, tell the truth. Be a man of principle and honor, and do the things that you say you're going to do. And what we witnessed the other night, that whole 6 handicap. I was a 2 handicap when I was younger, and it was just ridiculousness. I appreciate you calling me, but I think you and I really are seeing the exact same thing. But you're right. It's all of the damage over the last 3.5 years. The damage has been horrific. Oh, did I lose you, Russ?
Every bad thing he's done in the last 4 years, I just want him to be called out for it.
Yep. Well, and that's the thing is the Republicans, they had an opportunity at Hillary. They've had an opportunity at all these other Democrats who have blatantly broken the law, have violated our trust and confidence. And the Republicans take it on the other cheek. They don't punish their political enemies the same way that the Democrats do. And so what we've witnessed with Donald Trump is he's taken it for the team. I mean, honestly, there's no better way to describe that than taking it for the team.
Yeah, he's a good man. There's no doubt about that. I'm going to be voting for Mr. Trump again come November. You can bet on that. But I just want the public to remember that even if Joe Biden had all of his mental faculties, he'd be worse than he is now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it goes back to that description that I had from Duke University of a narcissist, and it's all about Joe Biden. It's all about Jill Biden and Hunter Biden and the Biden family syndicate. They all are self-serving at our expense, and they don't care what happens to you or to me. They don't care if Russ or Jim lose everything we have, if we don't have a roof over our heads. They don't care about us.
And one other thing while we're on the subject, I don't care about Donald Trump's personality that people are so concerned about. It doesn't bother me at all. You know why? Because he tells the truth and he does the right thing. And that's the kind of person I want in the White House.
Well, he demonstrates character. And when he reaches out to families, he's done so many dozens of things that no one ever hears about, helping families. He's a good-hearted person. He never took a paycheck. He donated his pay as president of the United States because he said, I don't need it. I'll donate it to charity. And that's love of country. And, as we're hanging our flags out, that's what I want to think about are the soldiers and a commander-in-chief that truly loves us and loves our country.
I agree. And thank you so much for letting me talk tonight. I appreciate your time.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for being a part of the show. I'm going to get over to David in Dublin, Texas. We've got a couple of minutes for you, Dave. Welcome. What do you got for us tonight?
Yeah, you guys have been playing on WBAP the comments from Biden saying, I know how to tell the truth. I know how to do this. I know how to do that. Well, I remember a line from Ron White in the Blue Collar Comedy Tour where he says, yeah, I know how to, I have the right to remain silent, just not the ability. Well, I think that's how Biden is. He has the ability, he has the right to tell the truth, just not the ability.
Well, and today we were driving in the car. I've got two young kids. I'm 64 in August, and I've got a 10-year-old and 11-year-old. So my 10-year-old, there was a bit playing. We were listening to WBAP, and my 10-year-old, it was that sweeper that you just heard at the bottom of the hour. And my daughter says, does President Biden, is he always lying? And I said, there's an old joke, honey. He's a lawyer. You know how you can tell when a lawyer's lying? And she says, when? And I said, when his lips are moving. And she just laughed and laughed and laughed. But it's a joke. I know a lot of really good lawyers, good people, honest people, credible people, but Joe Biden is not one of them. And he's demonstrated that through totally 50 years of taking from the American public, from the people of Delaware, living off the lamb and getting rich on the backs of the people. So, Dave,
he has no idea. He has no idea how American people live.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
He's been on the public dole for. He's worse than any welfare recipient that's ever lived.
Well, hang on, because I'm going to talk about that after the break. I want to talk about what he's costing us every day with his schedule and the hours that he's working and the lack of doing anything significant to help the American people. Dave, I appreciate you being a part of the show. Thanks for listening. If you want to join in, we'd love to hear your call to 1-800-288-WBAP, 1-800-288-9227. I'm getting friend requests from my neighbors in Texas, so keep those coming. And while you're at it, shoot me a message and we'll share it on the air. Or, like I said, give us a call, 1-800-288-9227. You could email me, Jim at bigjimsmith.net, and we'll share your email on the air. We've got more coming up for you. I want to talk about what is Joe Biden costing you. We've got more coming up next. The Chris Krok Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. I love this place, and I love the listeners. It's been a while. Love getting in here and talking with some good patriots from Texas. And, I'd even let the other guys in. If you want to call and have part of the conversation, we'd love to have you. So look at the picture. Do you know what it means when they put a pin in it? If you listen to Bongino, he used to work Secret Service, and Dan talks about putting a pin in the day. And there are days that Biden puts a pin in the day at 10 a.m. That's when he starts his day. So if he's put a pin in the day at 10 a.m., that means he's done. Now, the reality is that Biden is putting in about a 6-hour day. And that 6-hour day, 3, maybe 4 days a week. Let's give him credit, 3.5 hours or 3.5 days a week. That's 21 hours a week. So then you do the math. You've got I've got my cell phone out here with the calculator. 21 hours a week. Take out all of the weeks that he takes off, and he does this a lot. But let's be generous. Let's say out of 52 weeks out of the year that he works 48. Let's give him 4 weeks off. We're going to be kind and say, well, multiply this times 48 weeks. So he's working half-time, 1,008 hours. 1,000 hours. So you're paying him, or we are paying him $400,000 a year plus a $50,000 expense allowance, which, that just goes to him because everything else is already paid for. All of his food, his travel, his housing, everything is covered. So he's getting technically $450,000 a year, 450,000. Divided by 1,000. I'm doing it this way just so we can know. Let's see. $450 an hour. I would kill for $450 an hour. I would love that. And I would actually work. And I promise you that if you let me work for $450 an hour running your country for you, I would make sure that it's doing better than it's doing today. Ron in Mesquite might feel the same way. Welcome to WBAP. What do you got for me, Ron?
I just wanted to say that I spent 7 years in the Army and 18.
Thank you for your service. God bless you.
Well, thank you, sir. You're welcome. And 18 as a cop in Dallas, retired, went to law school at night when I was detective, all that stuff. But the thing is, Trump loves us, and that's what you said. And I've served under good leadership through various jobs in the Army and as a cop, and bad leadership. And Trump loves us. And that's what I feel. It's like a dog. Even a dog knows who loves him and who doesn't. Biden, he's just a lost soul, and I'm just a tool to him, a number. I don't count. That nailed it for me when you said that. Trump loves us.
Yes, and he loves the country. He loves the concept of the United States of America. He realizes he's had his success because of the United States of America. And the left, in their self-centered, narcissistic way, hate that. They hate everything he stands for. They want all of us being broken down, broke financially, broken emotionally, living off the government teat, just like that. But they all want to live high on the hog. The Gavin Newsoms of the world, the Nancy Pelosi's, they all want to be the wealthy, the elite. And just if you think back in colonial days in Europe, what it was like, there was the rich and there was the poor. And it was that politic general that we see in the Democrat Party. That's what they want to replicate. We see it already around the world, and they want us to be like those kind of. They don't like what we are. So, and Trump does. So I appreciate that, Ron. You hit the nail right on the head. I mean, that's absolutely wonderful.
You hit the nail on the head. It struck with me, and I just wanted to tell you thank you for saying that.
Well, and thank you. God bless you for your service to our country and to the good citizens of Dallas. As a police officer, thank you for everything you do. I hope, are you retired now?
Oh, yeah. I retired at 49. When I started, they loved us.
Dang.
But when they got to hating on us and the media got to lying on us, me
Time
and
to get out.
my friends, we just went to law school at night and retired early and let them pay us. You know, it's like, okay, we're so bad, y'all go do it.
Yeah, you find somebody that can put up with the crap. Well, and that's happening a lot in our major cities. So thank you for everything you did, and Dallas was a much better place because of you. So enjoy your retirement, and maybe we'll see you on the fishing pond someday.
Oh, no, I work. I'm a lawyer. I like to work.
Oh, okay. So you're a lawyer. Well, I'm 64 and I'm done. No, actually, I'm doing this. I do the podcast, but I sold my businesses and I retired on the first officially. So, I'm going to go fishing first thing in the morning with my son-in-law. So I'm starting to enjoy this retirement. I'll tell you what it's like when you're ready.
All right, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you, Ron. Angie in Decatur, thank you for joining us. Good. Thank you for listening to WBAP. What do you have for me?
Hi, thank you for taking my call. No, you were asking a question of what Biden's cost us, or what he has, cost each one of us. And I was just saying that, I had to withdraw my retirement because I was, under President Trump, I was working part-time, able to cover my bills, make my living, modest, but still. Under Biden, I had to withdraw my retirement. I'm working 40 hours. I cannot make it paycheck to paycheck. I mean, come on, man.
It is awful. When you go to the grocery store, and see, he doesn't get it because he doesn't go to the grocery store. He doesn't walk down the aisles. And my wife and I, when we go to the grocery store, and we live kind of in a rural community that has a little grocery store that's already going to be more expensive than if we drove into the city to go to Walmart. But we're really feeling the impact when you pay $2.25 for a head of lettuce, when you are paying close to $5 for a gallon of milk. That's ridiculous. And our wages haven't gone up to meet that. Our wages. Nope. I've been blessed, Angie, because I've been self-employed and I really have been blessed. But watching my employees, we kept trying to pay them more, and we couldn't pay them enough. We just couldn't do it. So, because I really want to talk to you about this cost in your retirement. If you don't mind holding into the break through the top of the hour, I would really like to keep you on here so that we can finish this conversation. Are you good with that?
Sure.
All right. Don't go anywhere.
Great.
We're going to come back to Angie right after the top of the break. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. I want to continue this conversation with Angie in Decatur. She is one of those that has lost her retirement because of this administration in the last 3.5 years. My investments are terrible. My commercial accounts, I can't sell a commercial property for what I was able to sell it for 2, 3, 4 years ago, because they have what they call a market cap rate, and it's a calculator that lowers it. It heightens the risk level of a property because of high interest rates, those kind of things. We'll talk about it after the top of the break, because this is important stuff for you to know. If you want to be a part of the show, 1-800-288-WBAP, 1-800-288-9227. Email me, jim@bigjimsmith.net, or you can shoot me a Facebook message. I'd love to catch you on the air, though, so try the phone call, 1-800-288-WBAP. We are News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3.